Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. Since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal.
Ooh, love that. Keep talking.
So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you?
What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
Welcome to the Don't Get So Emotional podcast. We're going to be talking about the presidential campaign and in particular, Joe Biden. So we've all seen what happened. Tom, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, is Joe going to manage to be put forward for November?
I personally think that he'll get replaced. I think it's quite obvious now that he's incapable of doing the job. And that's, we're seeing that with mainstream media. Even Democrats are now admitting that. And I think they're all in panic mode. And I think actually that's probably the worst thing that could happen for Trump, because at the moment, if he probably wants it to be Biden, because it'd be a landslide. He'd win easily. If they replace Biden with someone else, then it could be more of a challenge for him.
He could be replaced by Gavin Newsom. Okay. They couldn't replace him with Kamala Harris because she's more hated than Joe Biden. Or I heard someone talking about Michelle Obama or Hillary. I don't know. But I don't think Joe is going to be... I think they're looking for ways. The weird thing to me is, and we spoke about this on our previous Bumbling Biden video, mainstream media has never really acknowledged the fact that Joe Biden is in cognitive decline.
That almost the entire media repeated the same lie with the exact same words is disturbing, but also unoriginally fake. If you want to know the truth, it's on X.
This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever.
He is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America.
This is a man who is sharp, who is on top of his game, who knows what's going on.
He's smart. He's on his game.
His mental acuity is great.
This is a very sharp president.
And the people that I've talked to say he's as sharp as a tack. He's fine.
They say he's sharp.
There's not a problem.
He was sharp.
He was sharper than anyone I've spoken to.
The president is sharp and he is tireless.
He is sharp.
As sharp as... It goes on like this for 6.5 minutes.
And now, virtually everyone, if we look at the papers, it just says the leader of the free world is away with the fairies. If we look at what they're all saying, and the Democratic commentators, they're all saying
it's over. It's totally over. Joe Biden didn't pick up a single voter there. He lost millions of votes there. He looked ancient. He sounded ancient. Nobody was even listening to what he was saying, even when he was in the middle of losing his train of thought. And you're like, no! But even then, don't worry about it, because nobody heard him. He spoke at a whisper. He mumbled so much. He looked incredibly weak. Now, is he actually weak? No, he's old. There's nothing he can do about it. He's 81, and he looks, honestly, 101.
But to me, he was no more terrible than he was 4 years ago. I just think it's a very, very strange situation. Trump did manage to say some quite funny put-downs.
Both of them, as you know, we made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions, he couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards.
But they both made false statements. One of the statements that he made that I thought was quite interesting was he said that he had the full support of the Border Force. And while the event was on, the Border Force Union actually said, to be clear, we never have and never will endorse Biden, which was seen by 22 million people at the time. And I think also Biden claimed that he had the support of the police, and I don't think he does.
And yeah, I think they were arguing about a lot of things, and even arguing who was better at golf.
Just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie. He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Never.
But I have, you know how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Hey,
let's not act like children.
This is the guy that's running America. You know, they've got until November, until Trump comes in, and I think we're gonna see some things happen, because they're not gonna want to do it when Trump's in office. I think, you know, people have admitted that these countries are intimidated by Trump.
I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen it. He can look you in the face. About so many other things too. And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, Ukraine. Everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation. The losers and suckers story that he made up is a total lie on the military. It's a disgrace. But Social Security, he's destroying it, because millions of people are pouring into our country, and they're putting them onto Social Security. They're putting them onto Medicare, Medicaid. They're putting them in our hospitals. They're taking the place of our citizens. What they're doing to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels. He doesn't know what he's doing, and it's really coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.
But there was some points where Biden clearly had just lost what he was going to say, and would end up giving up because he didn't have a clue where he was going with it.
I think what was interesting as well. I think what's interesting as well, if you look at the end, there's a clip of the two candidates walking off, and Trump's walking off, and then Joe walks off frailly, you know, with his wife Jill. And then I saw a clip of Jill afterwards congratulating him, and it was like congratulating a bloody kindergarten kid for doing well in their blooming first lesson.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the... And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Yes.
And Joe Biden has this thing that he does where his hands are dropped and he's just smiling, but there's no one there.
Yeah, I saw a video recently of him just standing there like he was in a trance on stage next to Obama. Yeah. And Obama ended up having to sort of take his arm and kind of shuffle him off, because he looked like he was gone. He looked like he looked like someone with dementia that had just had like a little episode and forgotten what the hell was going on.
I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one. Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 million, billion dollars, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our health care system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death.
I think whoever is allowing him to do this, I mean, it's basically elder abuse. He's not. I mean,
But people keep saying that. I don't look. Maybe there's people that are not doing enough to convince him to pull out, but I think it's him. I think he has this weird kind of pride and stubbornness about him, where he's just not going to pull out because he sees it. He'll see it as a failure. I don't think anyone would blame him. I mean, look, I know they're both old. It's not just about age; it's about cognitive kind of ability, and clearly, it isn't there.
CBS News YouGov conducted some polling, and the bottom line, Al, it's not any good. It's not any good. Look at this. Voters who say that Biden has the mental health to be president. It was just 35% pre-debate. Look where it's dropped to now post-debate, 27%. How about that he should be running for president? It was 37% pre-debate. It's now 28%. I have never seen numbers this bad for an incumbent president during my lifetime. I mean, that mental health to be president, might say, okay, you know, that's low, but a lot of people thought Biden was too old back in 2020. These numbers look nothing like this back in 2020. These numbers were bad already, and the truth is, Allison, they have gotten just considerably worse.
Trump has way more marbles than Biden.
Trump was like he was 4 years ago. There was no difference to him.
But Trump doesn't seem to have changed the whole time I've known of it. You know what I mean?
Joe, our country is being destroyed as you and I sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the worst president. He just said about me because I said it. But look, he's the worst president in the history of our country. He's destroyed our country. Now all of a sudden he's trying to get a little tough on the border. He came out with a nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit.
I think it was an interesting debate. It was certainly different to the sort of debates we get in the UK. I
personally think that if we had Biden as a candidate, let alone a prime minister, wouldn't it just be the most embarrassing thing in the world? Like, I don't think I've ever been proud. I don't think I've ever looked at a prime minister and thought, I'm proud of that guy. He's the leader of our country, or anything like that. I've never thought of one of our prime ministers as like Churchill. Do you know what I mean?
But Churchill's got his critics as well.
Oh, I know that. It's the same with all of them, really. But you know, the ones that stand out are Churchill and Margaret Thatcher. But I just think I can't even imagine having Biden as a prime minister.
This guy hasn't fired anybody. He never fires. He should have fired every military man that was involved with the Afghanistan horror show, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
Yeah, I think that potentially this could have been a Democrats' plan all along. I think that because this debate apparently is very, very, very early.
It is, yeah. Well, the election is in November. There's going to be another debate, and you know, I've seen stuff online where the Democrats are saying we've got to replace him. But they have got time to replace him. That's the thing they have.
That's what I'm saying. I think this potentially could have been their plan. I think they've kind of humoured Biden, brought this debate forward, kind of let Biden go out there and embarrass himself so that they can all turn around and say, we need a new candidate.
Democrats behind the scenes knew full well that Joe Biden is gone. According to a report from Tucker Carlson, it is Jill Biden that is cloistering Joe away from everybody, running everything, pulling the strings, and making sure Joe does not step down. But when you watch these videos from the debate, there is nothing you can do anymore.
Trump's worst case scenario is that they do bring someone else in, and now he's got someone else that he's got to battle it out with.
Gavin Newsom, Hillary Clinton, or Michelle Obama, or an other. What do you think, people? Comment below if you saw the debate. What did you think? Do you agree with me and Tom? Do you have a different opinion? Whatever it is, put it in the chat. Also, we've got loads of episodes that you might be interested in. Like and subscribe to the channel. Share the show with your friends. Check out some of the other stuff we've done. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting conversation. Here in the UK, we've got an election coming up on this Thursday, on the 4th of July, which, as I said, is going to be interesting, having a socialist party, which is Labour, who look like they're going to win, and a potential Republican candidate in Donald Trump in November. And also, what's going to happen if Donald Trump's in prison when he wins the election? How's that work? Does he suddenly pardon himself?
It's all a bit mental. I think, American politics is always just entertaining to us Brits.
They must look at us though and think, what are you doing? I look at that. I look at our politics. I think, what are we doing a lot of the time? Anyway, but we can't get into it. Terms of service, can't get into it. Right, that's it. This is enough for this episode. Please leave your comments, share the show with your friends, as I said, and we will catch you next time.
We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. By the way, the Border Patrol endorsed me.